We are live. Welcome to today's NASCAR doubleheader race coverage. Bristol, baby. Bristol Motor Speedway, ARCA, Craftsman Truck Series Thursday night double. And we kick things off, obviously, with this ARCA race. First of four NASCAR sanctioned races, I guess, if you will, for the race weekend at Bristol Motor Speedway. Most of which going to be taking place under the lights. Obviously, with this being the first of a two-race Thursday, this is going to be pretty much all in the daylight or evening hours, dusk hours, if you will. Different track conditions for this one than what we'll probably see for the truck race, as well as the Xfinity Cup races later on this weekend. This is our first of only two live commentary streams for the weekend in general. And that is because I will be at the NASCAR Xfinity and NASCAR Cup Series races the next couple of days at Bristol Motor Speedway. So staying back home for one extra day to give you guys a couple of streams beginning right here. So the Busch's Best 200 for today's ARCA title sponsor, 200 lap race around this half-mile world's famous short track that is Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll get into the qualifying results from earlier today and see how the starting lineup is going to shake up as we're waiting for the raw feed on ARCA's website to pop up for the moment. So as we go through the starting lineup for today's race, Brent Cruz will be on the pole in the Mobil 1 Toyota, the number 18 car. Lap time of a 15.076 and an average lap speed in qualifying of 127.275 miles per hour, setting the pole by about 0.09 of a second over Brendan Butterbean Queen, who in my opinion is the pick and the favorite to win today's race. Queen was fastest in practice a little bit earlier. Obviously another front row start. He's been great in ARCA this season, especially on the short tracks. He won one of the few races we have streamed this year, which was the season opener at Daytona. And row number 2 will be Laney Busey and Tyler Reif, LeVar Scott and Tristan McKee in row 3. Row 4 for Jake Finch and Leland Honeyman. We usually see Honeyman in the truck series from time to time, Xfinity as well. Isaac Kitzmiller and Patrick Staropoli will be in row 5. Staropoli's had quite a few good starts in at least the several races we've done here on the channel of ARCA this season. Thomas Annunziata, another driver we've seen the Xfinity and truck levels quite a bit, running the race here today for ARCA. He'll be on the inside of row 6. Jason Kitzmiller will be on the outside of that row. Timmy Hill, Carson Ware, and Andy Jankowiak in row 8. Row 9 will be Tim Richmond and Andrew Patterson. Jackson Loran and Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cletus McFarland, in row number 10. And that's about the top half of the field. Into the back half now, row number 11 will be Tony Castino and Michael Maples. Zachary Tinkle, along with Bobby Dale Earnhardt, will be in row 12. Behind them in row 13, Takuma Koga and Austin Vaughn. Brad Smith, Alex Clubb in row 14. Row 15 will be Con Nikolopoulos and Corey Aiken. Row 16, Brayton Laster, Mike Basham, and rounding out the field in row 17, Josh White and Isabella Robusto. Robusto did not qualify after having an incident in practice earlier today. Probably going to be one of the favorites of those coming from deep in the field. I'm sure she'll get a pretty solid finish, assuming she can survive this. We don't see a lot of lap cars, I feel like, nowadays in the top level of NASCAR with the Cup Series because everybody's so equal. That is not the case with ARCA. There's going to be a lot of, if you will, moving chicanes around this racetrack, which is going to make lap traffic and long green flag runs very interesting to watch. Who can survive and conquer this half-mile concrete oval? Visual purposes, today's races are both on Fox Sports 1 for both the ARCA and the Craftsman Truck Series later this evening. Full Throttle 73, Terry Lewis. Dawn, welcome to the stream. And many others, as obviously we're just filing in. I've got the Truck Series points at the top of the screen. Let me get that off of there. That's supposed to be for later tonight. Nope, not that. That was my camera. There we go. Eric Brennan is the play-by-play announcer in the booth for the various times that you'll get to listen to the FS1 broadcast. And then Roz, welcome to the stream. Just over 20 people in the chat already. 10 likes. I don't know what the like goal is going to be. This is only the 4th ARCA race we've done this season. Very select weekends that we actually do ARCA races throughout the course of the season. This is the first time I've done a race at Bristol. Usually I'm there, but working earlier this afternoon, I'll be there for tomorrow and Saturday night. Just given the command to fire engines on FS1 currently. Try to refresh ARCA's website to see if we get a leaderboard in anytime soon. Nothing there. Go over the practice results from earlier this afternoon that were taking place. Brent Cruz, who is the pole sitter, was also fastest in practice. Brendan Queen second. So a lot of the drivers that qualified well were pretty fast in practice also, at least with their top times. And there wasn't a lot of movement outside of Isabella Robusto, who will be bringing up the rear of the field because of not participating in practice. Only qualified, 14 laps of practice was all she was able to accomplish. And I believe the most laps that was ran was for our rookie, and obviously a big driver we'll be watching for in this race for various reasons, Cletus McFarland, who I believe when I looked earlier put up 62 laps in the full 1-hour session. A lot of other drivers in the 30 to 40 range, but he put down 62. There it is. Yeah, 62 laps. And his best one of the 62 was lap 21. I'm not sure how many sets of tires they get for the full practice session. I would assume 2. I'm not too familiar with the rules layout for ARCA as far as how many tires they get per sets for the race weekend. Yeah, I got the Packers jersey on tonight. I have to represent. I'm going to be missing most of the game, unfortunately. The one night, literally the only night that there's any sort of NASCAR racing on a Thursday outside of the duels before the Daytona 500. So I guess technically the second night. But one of 2 nights that there's any sort of racing on a Thursday is the one night that the Green Bay Packers have a Thursday night game. So I will likely be missing a vast majority of that. I'll probably catch the end of it after the truck race tonight, but we're probably not going to get done with the truck race till about 10:30 this evening. So hopefully they're not down by the time I do get into the football game later. Yeah, definitely smash the like. So again, they just gave the command to fire engines moments ago. They're currently under commercial on Fox Sports 1 at the moment. I guess our like goal will be 50 for right now. Cars are rolling out onto the racetrack from pit lane. Short tracks are no different from all the other ARCA races for those of you that do watch or even don't watch ARCA on a week-to-week basis, but regulars of the channel or maybe watch some of the top 3 series of NASCAR on a weekly basis. No live pit stops. There will be a halfway caution at lap 100 to refuel and change tires. Now, teams can choose to pit under caution flag conditions, obviously following that said caution. And the order in which everybody would have came into the pits is the order that those would restart in following their stops. And the same will be said also for when we get to lap 100 at the halfway caution. You technically don't have to pit there, but we're guaranteed at least that 1 yellow. Went through the starting lineup for the race already. It's got the numbers listed in order, but the names are yet to pull up. I've noticed ARCA's website's a little bit on the slow side. For some late-breaking updates, I'll let you listen into the booth until they get the green flag dropped.
Prior today, very consistent summer month of races for Isabella. 5 top 5 performances in the last 7. And I asked her, what has aided to that consistency? And she said, I think a lot of it is just my preparation and being able to take simulation and applying it to real life. Now, she's never been to Bristol, but she's going to have some work to do if she wants to get to the front today. Alex Weaver?
Yeah, Caitlin, a story that I'm keeping my eye on tonight is the short track debut of Cletus McFarland. He's built a massive following. Obviously, we all know his YouTube and social media following with those wild car builds, the burnout contest, but he's trading in those cameras tonight for the High Banks of Bristol. His 4th start in the ARCA Menards series. Now, he's friends at the track here, but he's hoping that he can find some confidence coming off of that best finish at Charlotte in his previous race.
Green flag is up, and we're underway from Bristol, and a great launch on the...
I was not expecting them to go green right there, not going to lie. That was a very quick set of parade laps. But we are underway, as Brennan had just mentioned, at the Bristol Motor Speedway. And already making a great save up off the exit of the corner. Middle off through 3 and 4. He had a slide on the bottom of the racetrack. Barely able to keep it off the car to his outside, which would have been LeVar Scott. First of many slips and slides we'll see on the asphalted side of the racetrack. Or I should say asphalt, the sunny side of the racetrack in turns 3 and 4. A lot more shade coverage in turns 1 and 2. I would imagine there's more grip there than what we'll see in turns 3 and 4 for this 200-lap event in the daylight hours of Bristol Motor Speedway. Brent Cruz leading the opening lap of the race from the pole, and Brendan Queen, who qualified second, will be third at the end of lap number 1. Laney Busey in the 2 car was the one who was sideways after starting in row number 2. So our leaderboard's going to be up to date, but we don't have the names on there. So I'll try to fill you in the running order from time to time, obviously, for what I get at least of the top 20. Cruz already out to about a half a second lead over Tyler Reif. And 1 second over Brendan Queen in third. Leaders already catching the backmarker cars at the rear end of the field as they stayed in the bottom of the racetrack, having to work that second groove. Not going to see the outside line really come into play in today's ARCA race. You might see it by the end of the truck race as the track gets rubbered in. Full practice, obviously, for truck as well as ARCA earlier in qualifying, so a lot of the bottom lane is very much rubbered. And there's also some traction compound laid in on the very inside line just above the apron on both ends of the racetrack. Not on the straightaways, of course, but in the corners. So it is going to be a fight for the bottom here for the ARCA event. Tyler Reif is starting to close in as Cruz got into lap traffic. Now the lead is off of a half a second down to about 2 to 3 tenths of a second back. Timmy Hill has just bolstered his way up into the top 10 recently. Couple laps in after starting in the teens. Keep an eye on that 56 of Timmy Hill. And Cletus McFarland right where he started, just about, up 3 positions to 17th. And already have just 23 cars on the lead lap out of the 34 that started. And Derek White had pulled off the track after 1 completed lap in the race. Whether that would be mechanical issues or a start and park effort, not entirely sure. Doubt they'll have any breaking news on that, though. I guess we'll really be able to tell if somebody gets a DNF here early in the race and crashes out, and if that car comes back in to complete enough laps to overtake whoever would be out of the race. Basham in the 01 also had pulled off the racetrack and is currently on pit road. Try refreshing ARCA's website again and see if they've got names. Oh, no names. Knoll apparently is everybody's first and last names. And it doesn't even... Oh, okay. I was going to say, it wasn't showing the full leaderboard at first either. It's only showing the top 30. They got the last couple spots on there now. The numbers of the drivers and what position they're running in is all the same. We just don't have the names on our website. Getting through lap traffic 3 wide, right around where the leaders are. Tyler Reif, oh, a little contact with one of the lap cars from the second place position. And the 82 of McKee looking to pounce on him for that said spot. After McKee had gotten by Queen a couple laps prior because of lap traffic holding everybody up. McKee and Queen were 3 wide getting through a couple of the lap cars. And now McKee getting very impatient after making contact with one car already. A little bump and run maneuver on Tyler Wright, but he couldn't move him up out of the way. Still remains in the 3rd spot, while Brett Cruz is pulling away with it in the early going. 19 laps completed, 3 seconds is the lead over 2nd place. Already over 10 seconds to the 10th place car of Busey. 16 cars are on the lead lap entirely. Bentley Potts, welcome to the stream. Reif is very loose in the outer lane, trying to get by lap traffic that is side by side in front of him again. And again, McKee putting a bump to the back of the 23 as well. Definitely see some indentations square on the back bumper for Tyler Wright. I don't know how much that first big slide after contact with the 40 car of Patterson earlier might have caused his lack of rear tire grip. But he's fading from McKee. And now we'll judge McKee's lap times to that of our race leader, Brett Cruz, to see if he's going to close in at all there. Once he made the pass and was 3 seconds off the lead, he quickly cut that down to 2.5. But now we have to wait and find out if that's going to be a consistent gain or if that's just because he's getting through lap traffic better on that particular lap. Reif is holding on in front of Brian Queen, though. Still a tight battle for 3rd. Queen charging the corner entry hard, kind of floats up about a half a lane and then back to the bottom on that yellow line again and in the grip strip, if you will, with the PJ1/traction compound. Reif is making some bold maneuvers, still getting by lap traffic, that time 3 wide on the outside of the slow cars. I will say, being at one ARCA race at Bristol in person, it is insane to watch how slow the slow cars are versus the fast cars. And I swear it looks like they're about to run into the back of one another every single corner that they come up on one of those slow cars. The speed difference is just so massive. Seeing a little bit of that right now. Brett Cruz in the 18 looking to put a teammate there a lap down. And the number 55 of Isabella Robusto. Robusto last car in the lead lap, currently in 15th after starting dead last with no qualifying. So already basically starting about a half a lap behind, on top of all the slow cars she had to deal with at the very get-go. She's running good lap times, but Cruz just a little bit better. Robusto now picked behind another car. Robusto slides wide, almost making contact with Brett Cruz in a desperation move to not go a lap down. Now Robusto sideways in the outside groove of the racetrack as she is having fits with that race car. She will make the pass on the 51 on the high side. The 18's kind of boxed in up high as well. This is going to be a very lengthy period of time for Robusto, who is hoping for a caution to just stay on the lead lap. At the very least, be in the free pass position by the time we get to the halfway caution if no cautions for incident arise before lap 100. We've got the names on the leaderboard now, which is good because we can go through the full field running order. Lap 32, first commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Brett Cruz is the race leader. 2nd place for Tristan McKee. Brendan Queen in 3rd, Leland Honeyman 4th, and Tyler Reif rounds out the top 5 in 5th as Reif lost another 2 spots there right at the commercial break. LeVar Scott in 6th, Jake Finch in 7th, Thomas Annunziata 8th, Timmy Hill 9th, and Laney Busey in 10th, Isaac Kitzmiller 11th, Jason Kitzmiller in 12th, Patrick Staropoli 13th, Isabella Robusto 14th, and is still the last car in the lead lap. Carson Ware just went a lap down in 15th. Andy Jankowiak is 16th. Tim Richmond in 17th. 18th for Andrew Patterson. Garrett Mitchell 19th. And Logan Misaraka in 20th. Zachary Tinkle is 21st. Tony Castino 22nd. Jackson McLaren in 23rd. Bobby Dale Earnhardt 24th. Takuma Koga 25th. Michael Maples 26th. Brayton Laster 27th, Alex Clubb 28th, Austin Vaughn 29th, and Brad Smith 30th. Con Nicolopoulos is 31st, Corey Aiken 32nd, Josh White 33rd, and Mike Basham rounds out our 34-car field. Already only 14 cars on the lead lap, and as we're under caution for the first time today at lap 36 out of 200, not sure what the incident's for exactly at the moment because they are on commercial break. So we'll get that to you in a matter of moments. That's the caution Isabella Robusto needed to barely hold on to the lead lap. And Carson Ware in 15th will get the free pass for being the first car one lap down at the time of caution. Cleats gloving up on the live feed. I would imagine so. Mid-pack like he's been through practice and qualifying today. He's probably got a handful of that race car. All right, see what this caution's for.
Back at Bristol,
Takuma Koga
is into 200 with the ARCA Menards series, working our first caution. The longest green flag stretch at Bristol ends 35 laps into this race, involving the driver who was fourth in ARCA Menards East standings. Shot.
Watch him come off turn 4 here. Koga is going to move up the racetrack. Thinks he's clear. Andrew Patterson, the 40 was there. Unfortunately for Takuma Koga, as you mentioned, had a great season this year in the East Series, and going to be probably a premature end of the night. There's another meeting. Pretty fortunate that we didn't have any more cars involved.
So we obviously see this happen pretty often at this racetrack. You spend so much time as a draw and you're outside, and it's already happened too late, and you can't really adjust for it. So definitely fortunate for sure.
That was the first look we've had at Cletus McFarland. It's on board. He did a nice job avoiding this incident.
Cletus currently scored 18th. Kogo is 25th at the time of the accident. And just before the wreck, Isabella Robusto went a lap down. Good news for Isabella. She is the recipient of the free pass.
So she got lapped during the commercial.
That lap back. Let's go down to Caitlin.
Guys, we have a different driver there in that 20 this weekend, Leland Honeyman. I had a chance to talk with him earlier. He said he found out on Tuesday he was getting this opportunity. He said it's been a bit of a drinking out of a fire hose situation, getting to the shop, getting fitted in his with a bigger team. This is a huge opportunity for him to really showcase his talents, and so far, a good showing out of that driver. Alex?
Yeah, Caitlin, I'm listening to Brendan Queen, Butterbean, on the radio, and he's a bit frustrated. They're trying to work him through this lap traffic that he's coming up on. He says that he's super tight when he gets behind these other cars, and he can't quite get up to the 23. They're suggesting him to be patiently aggressive, was what they told him on the radio, and saying that he has a lot on the line. He is running the Xfinity Series race tomorrow and making his Xfinity Series debut with Colleague Racing. So they're telling him, not only are you trying to win this race tonight, you're also trying to see what this racetrack is going to do and better your chances to have a solid start tomorrow. But drivers in the booth, patiently aggressive at Bristol, does that work?
I think it has to. You definitely have to be looking ahead, especially as one of those lead cars. Talk about Queen dealing with lap traffic and understanding that and trying to project what's going to be coming at him, but also dealing with the challenges of what his car is doing. And I think makes a great point as well. The information from the team as far as him learning the racetrack and seeing how things evolve, because this racetrack throughout the weekend is under constant change.
What could be a huge advantage for Butterbean is the fact that he will restart inside second row on this restart. So again, we have not worked the upper groove in yet, so the bottom is definitely the dominant part of the racetrack. So Butterbean should be in a great position to start right behind the car on the inside. I would assume that Brent Cruz would take the inside. Remember last year, they did not apply the PJ1. And I was looking back at last year's race, and the restarts were pretty even, whether the inside or the outside had an advantage. But I think, without a doubt, right now at least, the inside's going to have a huge advantage on these restarts.
We mentioned this is a last combination event for the ARCA Menards E-Series in 2025 with the National Tour. Let's take a look at our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver. Comes into the night here with a top 5 effort at ARCA Menards E-Series points. Austin Vaughn in the number 67. He had a great run at Flat Rock, finishing 5th there. He currently leads the ARCA Menards East Bounty Rookie of the Year standings coming into the finale.
We talk about Flat Rock, and again, I grew up about 30 minutes from Flat Rock and probably have been there well over 100 times in my life. And that's about what it is. It's a quarter-mile round racetrack, and great run for Austin there at Flat Rock with a top 5.
So some of the physical nature that it takes to be good there could transfer over here at Bristol, as we've seen many cars capture battle scars already.
So you see Brent Cruz here chose the outside, and talking about the inside lane being the preferred groove with the traction compound. What Brent Cruz here is looking for, he's counting on the launch. You do get a better launch off the top, but he's got to get down real quick. Same with all the cars that are on the outside right now.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's no, if they were teammates, maybe they would be talking about, let me in, let me get going and let me in.
Not teammates, though, in this situation. So Cruz versus McKee on the front row, McKee on the inside lane. Green flag back in the air. Lap 44 for the restart. 157 laps yet to go here at Bristol. Honeyman and McKee side by side for second up off turn 2 initially. Honeyman wins that battle, gets down to the bottom. So McKee, after starting inside of row 1, falls back into the 3rd place position. Jake Finch motoring his way into the top 5 for the first time, getting by Tyler Ripe on the restart. And again, 14 cars are on the lead lap at this point in time. That first caution came out at lap 36. Relatively quick cleanup, only 8 laps of caution at a half-mile Bristol racetrack. That's pretty quick, especially for ARCA, considering that they are probably down on safety personnel as far as track cleanup goes during yellow flag periods. Battle for the free pass position is very, very tight. Andy Jankowiak taking over that final spot right now for 15th, which would be that said battle. Shane Richards and Frank Powers, by the way, welcome to the stream. I didn't shout you out yet. Bentley Potts, welcome in as well if I didn't shout you out. Brent Cruz has led all 48 laps from the pole sitting position. Got out to as much of a 3-second lead. And then right when Tristan McKee was able to take over the 2nd place spot from Brendan Queen at the time, Tyler Ripe, excuse me, at the time, he was able to cut the lead down to about 2 seconds before the caution came out. Now lost a spot on the restart. He's about 1 second off the lead, and Leland Honeyman in 2nd is sitting a half a second back. McFarland looking to make a pass on Tim Richmond for position. Lap car on the bottom of the racetrack. Got to keep him from doing so as he slides back into the top on Austin Costino. Shuts the door quickly there. As of right now, we know his best lap of the race is a 15.478, which it shows on the right-hand side of the screen. The last lap he just ran was a 16.673. Though he's getting into some lap traffic, so going to be kind of difficult. Plus, having over 50 laps on these sets of tires now is also going to make it difficult to run your fastest lap times of the race. We'll see if they can make any adjustments at the halfway caution. Get that new set of Goodyear's, or I guess Hoosier tires for ARCA. And see if he can put down an even better lap time than he had at the very beginning of the race. That's also assuming he holds on to the lead by that point, which so far, so good. Haven't noticed any big changes for position inside the top 10. Isaac Kitts-Miller is up in the top 10 for really the first time today. Laney Busey is now back to 12th. Jake Finch, mentioned already, jumped into the top 5 for the first time in the race. Initially on the restart. Still about a full second off of 4th for Brendan Queen. Surprised that Brendan Queen isn't showing the race winning speed to this point in the race. He just might pick to win this thing. It's been great with a couple of short track wins already this season. But here today at Bristol, currently running in the 4th spot after starting in McKee in the 82. And Honeyman was able to get by Queen before the caution and then obviously getting by McKee after the restart. So he's definitely lacking quite a bit of pace compared to the 18 and the 20.
Halfway.
Oh, cutting the commercial. I was about to let you listen into a couple laps of the broadcast. That's not going to happen. We'll go through the top 10 in the running order. 62 laps in. Now make that 63. Brent Cruz is our race leader. Leland Honeyman in 2nd. Tristan McKee is 3rd. Brendan Queen 4th. Jake Finch 5th. 6th for Thomas Annunziata. Tyler Reif in 7th. LeVar Scott in 8th. Timmy Hill 9th. And Isaac Kitzmiller rounds out the top 10. We'll take our first break. You're listening live on KRC to ARCA Menards Series action at Bristol. All right. Very early stream for a Thursday, might I add. We've seen a couple of Truck Series races start at about 5 p.m. Eastern this season where we've had early streams, so I greatly appreciate you, whether you're just getting off of work or I guess now this time of the year, maybe getting out of school or whatever sporting you may be into on the school side of things and getting back.
Clinical trials.
Unmuted the TV in the middle of my speech. I did not mean to do that. I didn't even know I hit that button. What I was saying was I appreciate you guys tuning in here for the first time throughout the course of today's live commentary stream. Our usual programming would be the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series for the first race of the weekend for whenever they are racing. Well, that will still be on later tonight. Again, 8 p.m. Eastern at Bristol will be the Craftsman Truck Race. 250 laps will be our scheduled distance for that one. Second race at Bristol in the season for the trucks. Chandler Smith was our winner back in the spring. So after getting the free pass, Isabella Robusto has fallen a lap down again. So back to being 1 lap down in 14th. Cletus McFarland is still only 1 lap down for the time being in 19th. But he's not that far away from going a 2nd lap down if we don't catch another caution. So an update there for Cletus. People watching for him. I'm also curious to know if we're going to end up lapping more than the 13 cars that are on the lead lap right now, and if Robusto will have any to the free pass spot. Again, the halfway caution lap 100 is only about 28 laps away from now.
From Bristol, and that best one is brought to you by
Gunnar Myers, welcome to the stream.
Team delivers. And by Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. Well, this Inter 200 has been blistering by as we just about had a moment there for Tyler Reif and company. 1 caution so far in the 72 laps that have been run, and Brent Cruz thus far has led all the way.
Bobby Dale Earnhardt, 31, trying to get out of the way, got a little bit loose. That red car behind our leader, Brent Cruz.
Cruz now working up to the back of Andrew Patterson, who, as we stated earlier, was very impressive in the practice session. Was in the top 10 for most of that session, but had a problem in qualifying, had to make some repairs to the front fender, and he is now falling another lap off the lead. But that team, which is an operation that he runs himself, continues to soldier on, and he's running 15th.
And we saw right before we went away to break that Leland Honeyman actually had caught Brent Cruz in traffic, then went to the high side And now he finds himself 2 seconds off the pace. You can lose. It's hard to believe that you can lose as much time getting hung up behind a lap car at a small racetrack like this.
Oh, you better believe it.
Alex.
For watching Brent Cruz, let's check out Erica. So he's been extremely happy with his race car ever since he put down the fastest lap in Incline. It's silence on the radio driver, but his spotter is
For trouble off of turn number 2, it is Bobby Dale Earnhardt who has gone around in the Rise Motorsports number 31. At the time, he was running 31st, a respectable effort. Check that, 21st at the time he was running when he had his issues off of turn number 2, and this will draw the second yellow of the race.
According to our scoring monitor, Patrick Staropoli will be the recipient of the free pass. Free pass goes to the car. Highest car scored not on the lead lap, and that looks to be Patrick Staropoli.
Bobby's making his 4th ARCA start, first since 2017. Talked to him earlier in the week, and he said he hopes this could be the first step for more opportunity going into 2026. Second yellow is out for a solo spin by Bobby Dale Earnhardt. We're back from Bristol right after this.
Ever since Reese's came out with their milk chocolate bar.
Alrighty, so Brent Cruz still the race leader. Can he go wire to wire and lead all 200 laps here this afternoon is going to be the next question, because I don't know if anybody's got anything for him. I thought in that first run when Tristan McKee initially got to second, maybe he had something. Not the case when he fell back to third on the restart. He was losing time to Leland Honeyman and Cruz, and Honeyman was still losing time to Brent Cruz as well. McKee ended up being about 4 seconds off the lead when that last caution just came out at lap 78. And this is our second caution of the day. This may open the fuel window to make it to the end of the race if teams do choose to pit for fuel purposes here. I don't imagine many will, because there are only 13 cars on the lead lap. Maybe 14. They said on the broadcast that Staropoli is going to get the free pass, but it looks like on our leaderboard, Isabella Robusto may have gotten it again. Either that or the top 13 pit and she stays out to get the wave around, knowing that we're going to end up getting another caution at some point. Cletus McFarland was only 1 lap down at the time of caution, so he did not go a second lap down, for anybody wondering on that. So again, guaranteed that halfway caution at lap 100. We're getting close. All right. ARCA drivers have stepped up. They have by way of not getting involved in serious accidents, because we've only had 2 yellows in 80 laps so far today. Pretty clean race, all things considered. Especially when you just look at how many slow cars that there are getting in the way of the leaders. I'm surprised there aren't accidents more often. There could be into the second half of the race if we actually get some pressure on the lead and drivers begin to race there. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I think the only ARCA race I've ever been at Bristol, Ty Gibbs won. I didn't even think about that until just now. I've seen a couple ARCA races at Talladega. One at Daytona. But I think Ty Gibbs is the most notable name I've ever seen win in an ARCA race in person. That was a 2021 ARCA race at Bristol, by the way. So pit road was just open. There were a couple cars that came down and pitted. Not many. Two different pit lanes here at Bristol as well. One on the front stretch, one on the back stretch. Under caution, you do have to circle around the back stretch, whether your pit box is back there or not. Circle all the way back around to the front stretch and exit there. for whatever reason you pit under green flag conditions, obviously you only have to go through whatever straightaway your pit box is located on. The 24 likes. We're almost halfway to our goal of 50. I am going to do a diecast showing when we do get to halfway, even though there's no stage breaks in ARCA compared to what we would usually have the stage 2 diecast showing. Field is just now being given the 1 to go signal. Probably going to have about 15 laps until halfway. Yeah, exactly 15 laps until halfway. Be at lap 86 on the restart. "15 laps at Bristol is nothing. 4 minutes, 5 minutes maybe, at the very most, depending on pace. Turn 3 is now shaded. Turn 4 still in the sun, as it starts to set behind the grandstands on the Turn 2 side of the racetrack. Green flag is back in the air. Great restart for Cruz. Not so great for Honeyman on the inside of row 1. And it'll be the 28 of Brendan Queen, who is outside of row 2 and 4th, looking to take over second. Brendan Queen's got the spot, but he doesn't pull to the bottom quick enough. He chose not to be overly aggressive with Honeyman, and Honeyman will stick it to him as he's now on the bottom of Brendan Queen. And if Queen doesn't get to the bottom quickly behind him, McKee may get back around it for third. Big cut to the inside now for Brendan Queen, but there he just didn't have enough. McKee was able to slip underneath the Queen, and despite the fact that it looked like he was going to get to second, he ends up falling back to fourth where he was prior to the yellow flag coming out anyway. Lap car getting in the way of McKee on the bottom of the track. Got sandwiched 3 wide middle as he was trying to make a pass for second on Honeyman. Honeyman's hanging on strong on the outside for a couple corners. Went way too far wide, though, through 1 and 2 as he slipped well up out of the groove. And McKee back into second place for the first time since the first yellow that came out all the way back at lap 38. 10 laps now until the halfway caution. And a 1.8 second lead for Brent Cruz, who has led every lap from the pole. Yeah, Robusto did get the free pass in 14th again. Battle for 15th place would be for the free pass position as well. So our leaderboard, when the caution first came out, it was showing only 1 lap down for all the lappers. Now it's showing 2 down on both our leaderboard and Fox's. So looks like FS1 is showing everybody that is a lap down is 2 laps down. Great job, by the way, by Honeyman giving McKee just a little bit of room to miss that lap car to the inside, because had he not, there could have been an accident involving both of them, if not just McKee, but he was definitely taking care of him. Cruz is out ahead by 3 seconds already. Lap 95. And we've got another car against the outside wall, and it's Bobby Dale Earnhardt in the 31 again. Second consecutive caution he's brought out, and he is parked on the, I believe, turn 2 side of the racetrack. Trying to get the car rolling back into the pits. He's got it fired back up again. I would imagine he had a parts issue following the incident that he had brought out before this, he had spun off of turn 4 against the inside retaining wall for the second caution of the day, and now this caution, or third, and you can definitely see it was either a right front tire failure or some sort of a failure mechanically underneath the right front of the race car. He went all the way from the bottom of the racetrack in the middle of 1 and 2 straight to the wall. Pretty hard impact. He's back driving, trying to get it into the pits, but it looks like mechanically that car is done for, and once he gets at the pit road, it'll be the end of the day for Bobby Dale Earnhardt. I would assume this is going to lead us into the halfway caution. I don't think we're going to get a restart in beforehand. Going to cut the commercial now. A lot of laps still to go. Brent Cruz is the race leader under yellow. Tristan McKee in second. Leland Honeyman is third. Fourth place is Brendan Queen. Thomas Annunziata rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Live commentary coverage continues here on KRC. ARCA at Bristol. All right. Yeah. Red flag is displayed. I would assume that means we're at the halfway caution. We'll have some pit stops when they come back from commercial. Nobody had anything for Brent Cruz in the first half of the race. We'll wait and see about the second half. See here, bushes. I had to adjust the title of the stream. I realized I had Bush's Beans and not Bush's Best. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. I was 2 letters off. It only took me about half the race to realize it. All good now. Robert Goodrich, thanks for tuning in. I don't think I shouted you out yet. Cars are on pit road. Again, this is the halfway caution. A couple laps early with the yellow flag coming out at lap 96 for Bobby Dale Earnhardt.
For a mid-race break, with 98 laps complete, 102 laps still to go. As the teams get set to work on their cars, we'll toss it down to Caitlin.
Yeah, Eric, taking a look at the 70 of Thomas Annunziata, saying to the team, tight center exit, just checked in with the group. They said that car is not bad. It's one Shannon Rush adjustment from being great, is what they said for that one. Now, what about the 20 of Leland Honeyman? Very impressive showing for him so far. He says it feels decent on the bottom. It's starting to come to me. I can hug the center pretty good in 1 and 2. Exit is also good. Kevin Reed Jr., the crew chief there, also coaching him a lot on how to execute on those restarts. This is their first race together, but Leland is planning to run all the rest of the races but Toledo. Alex?
Caitlin, I'm watching the 82 of Tristan McKee down there and the team get to work during this pit stop. His crew chief, Shane Huffman, is asking him throughout those last couple of 10 to 15 laps to define a brake issue. He said he adjusted the front brake, which helped. He is tight in 1 and 2, so he had to work up on the throttle. They're asking for a little bit of adjustment. But now to our leader of the 18 of Brent Cruz in that Toyota machine, they were asking him voltage information, his water pressure, his tire pressure, all the numbers inside of the car. But he did say he was a little confused, that his balance was depending on his entry, that sometimes he was free, sometimes he was tight. And so they asked him, do you want an adjustment or no adjustment? And he said, yeah, let's take a little adjustment. And then they asked him to grade his car tonight. He gave it a C or a D, guys. I would hate to see him in an A or a B car. He might be more seconds ahead of the field.
It's a harsh criticism.
Yeah.
Drivers laying out live from the pole. Wow. Coming back for the restart here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Work continues on the pit lane.
I saw a couple of scuff marks on the front bumper of Brent Cruz's race car, so he's made contact with a couple of lap cars. Obviously, nothing significant to record up to this point. Dean Tate, welcome into the stream as well. Cletus is really taking it easy. Understand he has to pay for the ride and any repairs. I mean, there's that, but running his first, short track race, for instance, with ARCA, and ARCA, for instance, has a lot of short tracks on the schedule compared to any other discipline of racing when it comes to where we'd usually see the top 3 series of NASCAR rank. Him being on a part-time schedule, on top of that, I mean, he hasn't been in the car since May. Memorial Day weekend at Charlotte. He had 3 races really early in the season. Hasn't raced in 4 months. Just getting beat. Not an easy racetrack either. Short track is a tough cookie, especially the short track. The world's fastest half mile. They don't call it that for nothing. So the order in which the halfway caution and the pit stops would take place, the running order would stay the same as where they were at the time of the yellow, as you see on screen. Oh, yeah, I got you. ARCA isn't very competitive unless you're Brent Cruz or Butterbean. Yeah, I mean, they have the same 3 or 4, fastest cars every week. That is also very true. Venturini Motorsports and then the rest of the field, practically. Once again, a reminder, Truck Series racing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. That will be a little over an hour and a half from now. Tomorrow night's NASCAR Xfinity race will be at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, though. That will not be live streamed on the channel. Same for the Cup race on Saturday night, which will also be at 7:30. So 7:30 tomorrow night and Saturday night for Xfinity and Cup action. But race highlights from the grandstands will be uploaded instead of the stream. Cars are parked on the backstretch as we have cars still leaving pit road. So the time pit stops are over. And we'll get back to racing here shortly.
Buddy, great job so far. The first
Dialing up Brent Cruz.
has you tuned up, but it looks like it's pretty challenging out there maneuvering around these lap cars.
Yeah, he does. We have one Toyota Camry here, and excited to be able to show all the speed that it has, being able to pull today. And we've had really good restarts on a fast car, but yeah, lap traffic stuff.
Hey, Brian, it's Austin Cindric. We're watching all these lap cars, and do you have a favorite lane to go to? It's even hard to see where the racetrack is at this point with the progression and how much moving you guys got to do.
Yeah, Austin, I think
I think your guess is as good as mine. Good luck with that.
Brent Cruz obviously going to restart this race back on the point as he has not relinquished that spot. Austin, I love trying to gather some in.
Yeah, I mean, there's a very good possibility he leads every lap of this race. I haven't seen anything since probably the first 10, 15, 20 laps of the race that anybody has anything for Cruz. It very much helps that he's been on that outside of row number one. He's been getting great launches through the restart zone, and the driver on the inside of row one just hasn't. And honestly, the second place car, aka again inside of row one on these restarts, has a very hard time even holding on to second place. 3 cautions, all for incident, leading into the halfway caution. So that halfway yellow wasn't anything that necessarily was a caution of itself. No lead changes. All Brent Cruz. Joey Logano in trucks later? No. Not sure why you mentioned that. It's a playoff race, so any of the playoff races for Xfinity and trucks, Cup drivers cannot participate. So no Cup drivers will be in trucks or Xfinity the rest of the season. So Brent Cruz outside of row number one. Tristan McKee going to be lined up underneath him. Brendan Queen will be outside of row two. He had a chance to get down in line in second place earlier. If they made the adjustments that 28 car needed, that really for anybody, that was the first pit stop and probably the only one of the race. So if you were to make a massive swing to try to do anything to compete with Brent Cruz tonight, that would have been the opportunity to do so. Green flag is back in the air, and we are racing into the second half in the Busch's Best 200. Leland Honeyman is all under wraps from a couple of cars that are running door to door behind him. A couple rows of 2x2 racing in the back half of the top 10 through the entirety of the opening lap following the restart. 70 and the 23 side by side, as well as the 6 and the 56. Brendan Quinn was able to get into second, and that time he shut the door on Tristan McKee. Was not going to waste any extra time there. Honeyman falls into the fourth slot. Already catching 1 lap car in the restart. That's insane. I don't know what the minimum speed is for requirements for ARCA to not get black flagged, but it's got to be very slow. You're getting lapped at Bristol within 4 laps. It's like 4 or 5 seconds off the pace, I would assume. There's a chance it wasn't caught up with the back of the field on the restart either, but my goodness. I mean, I guess he would have started about a half a lap behind anyway, so maybe it's closer to 2 to 3 seconds off pace per lap, but that's still quite a bit, especially on a track where the faster lap times are mid 15 second lap times. Brendan Queen still staying with Cruz, 0.6 of a second off the lead. Could be managing tires a little bit, knowing that you're going to use this set to the end of the race as well out of Cruz. But if we go back to the first 38 laps to that first caution, he didn't have anything bigger than a 2-second lead over McKee. McKee was closing slightly at that point in the run. Brandon Queen's got a little bit better track position. Probably wants us to stay green for a while, though. I think the last thing you want is a restart while you're in second place. You're on the inside of row one, you'll lose a spot or two, and it's up to the next guy to try to get it done to take down Cruz. It makes your job harder to get back into second place and then have a shot at Cruz yourself. Everybody else is losing time to Cruz but Queen. That last time by, they were both in the 15-second lap barrier. Only Cruz, Queen, and Honeyman ran sub 16-second lap times the last time by, though Cruz was still the fastest on track. He's just getting through lap traffic a lot more efficiently, cleaner. When he has to go up off the bottom of the racetrack, he's making the most ground on the outside, and that's also probably extending his lead just a bit. Got to be able to handle well around the bottom because that's going to be the preferred line, but you have to jump out of that preferred line from time to time, and I've seen a lot of other drivers slipping and sliding their cars around the corner when not being on the grip strip down on the inside of the racetrack. 1 second off the race lead now for Queen. So it's a 1 second gap back to Queen, 2 seconds to McKee in third, 3.6 seconds to Leland Honeyman in fourth. Jake Finch is 5.9 seconds off the lead in fifth. Timmy Hill drove his way to sixth on the restart. He's 6.1 seconds off the lead. Thomas Annunziata is 6.5 back in seventh. Tyler Ripe is 6.6 back in eighth. Isaac Kitzmiller is 7 seconds off the lead in ninth, and LeVar Scott is 7.9 seconds back, rounding out the top 10. 85 laps to go this time by for our race leader, Brent Cruz. Oh boy, near contact for the 15 of Finch as he lost the spot to Timmy Hill. Hill up to fifth. Hill was on the outside of Finch, and as they were catching a slow lap car up off the exit of turn 2 the last lap, Finch had to lift just a bit to keep her running into the side of the lap car underneath him as he was 3 wide middle. And there was enough momentum for Timmy Hill to stay in the throttle and make that pass. Hill has gone from 9th to 5th on the restart, outright passing cars even lengthily into this restart and on the current green flag run we are running on. The last lap Timmy Hill put down was a 16.287. That was a 10th quicker than our race leader, Brent Cruz. Still 82 laps to go. If Timmy Hill can keep that pace up, maybe he's got something for Cruz, and that is not something I would have expected at the halfway caution, considering Hill was back in the 9th place position. Started the day just outside the top 10. It's been a very slow working progress from in the top portion of the mid-pack from the initial start to where he's at right now. That's going to help him time-wise as well as the 18 catches the back of the 95 a little late off of turn 4 before he moved up off the bottom lane and lost quite a bit of time. Timmy Hill's now 0.2 of a second quicker that last lap, so he picked up an extra 10 from what he was already pacing better than the leader anyway. Battle for second on screen between Butterbean Queen and Tristan McKee. McKee looking to the inside. Lap car is going to be on the bottom, though, so he's going to have to wait at least another corner or two to make the pass. Right as they were about to battle for second, we go to a full-screen commercial break on FS1, so I can't dialogue that to you. What we will do is go through the full field running order with 75 laps to go here today at Bristol. Brent Cruz is our race leader. Brendan Queen in second. Tristan McKee third. Leland Honeyman fourth. Timmy Hill rounds out the top 5 in fifth. 6 is Jake Finch. 7, Thomas Annunziata. Tyler Rife in 8th. Isaac Kitzmiller 9th. And LeVar Scott 10th. Jason Kitzmiller is in 11th. Laney Busey 12th. 13th, Isabella Robusto. And Patrick Staropoli rounds out the top 14, which are all the lead lap cars. Andrew Patterson is a lap down in 40th, 2 laps down on back, plus for Tony Castino, who's in 16th, 17th, Andy Jankowiak, Garrett Mitchell, a.k.a. Cletus McFarland in 18th, Carson Ware 19th, and Tim Richmond 20th. 21st, Jackson McLaren. 22nd, Michael Maples. Alex Clubb 23rd, Brayton Laster 24th, Brad Smith 25th, Austin Vaughn 26th, 27th for Con Nicolopoulos. Let's see, Logan Misaraka 28th, Corey Aiken 29th, Bobby Dale Earnhardt 30th, Zachary Tinkle 31st, Josh White 32nd, Takuma Koga 33rd, and Mike Basham rounds out the 34-car field. 70 laps left now as we still circuit under the commercial break. You're listening live on KRC as our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's ARCA's Busch Best 200 continues. Yep, Austin Cindric in the booth. Billy Kramer, welcome into the stream. I didn't do the diecast showing at the halfway caution. I almost forgot. There we go. On standby. I still had the diecast underneath me. I didn't have to get up from my seat. This is a UPS Dale Jarrett 2002, I believe. Yep, 2002 diecast Ford Taurus from the Winston Cup years. What can Brown do for you? A classic Dale Jarrett scheme, to say the least. Well, that I saw basically him race throughout pretty much the entirety of my childhood. At least of the vivid memory. NASCAR Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett. And I'll definitely be getting some more diecasts when I'm at Bristol this weekend. So we'll have new diecasts from next weekend going forward to show on the channel during our Stage 2 diecast showing. Instead of repeats of the old, like I've been doing here for the last several weeks.
The ARCA Menards Series competitors continuing to blitz their way around Bristol Motor Speedway as the Pinnacle Racing Group teammates are in an intense fight for second spot with Leland Honeyman trying to join the party.
So them split the zero, the lap car of Con Nicolopolis. Tristan McKee, I think, is being very respectful of his teammate. I think he definitely has a better car right now.
No, he's been having it for a ton of laps, and when they get back down to the bottom, it definitely seems like Tristan has an advantage down there. But I think Brian Queen definitely has a bit more confidence around the lap traffic and navigating that, whether if that's experience or just his car is able to run better. As we see higher and higher lanes able to get used, it's just difficult to make the full lap time.
And that moment there on the front straightaway amongst these two teammates, McKee on the inside, Butterbean on the outside. Another Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominee.
Just had to pitch it a little too hard, could not keep the throttle down as he moved underneath that zero car.
And that's the most frustrating thing when you're dealing with the lap traffic is Tristan clearly had that pass almost made and has to go back and reset. And we sat here watching under brake for 20, 30 laps. Him still trying to work it over. And you do that for 20, 30 laps. And then that was a great save.
Brennan saved it.
Phil, we talked about in the open. This is a wild card event, a glove save and a beauty for the points leader.
Tristan slowed down so much he thought he was spinning out.
Oh man, he still slides.
There's an issue, I think, with that 28 car. You saw him really loose up off the corner as well. Can't believe that car all of a sudden just turned loose in a matter of a lap or two.
It still doesn't look right.
No, he's struggling.
Well, things start to stabilize here for Butterbean. Let's go back and watch the initial slide.
What a save.
Yeah, that was a big moment. You saw him just yelling out a bit on entry, and then it really never settled once he landed into that big compression bump in the corner. I mean, that's almost full opposite lock. That was a great save.
How about the battle though? For second, third, fourth. There it is right there.
I mean, just to see how well he recovers. It doesn't seem
Look at it again.
he's just that right rear tire is just absolutely used up right now.
Used up or going down. Number two.
McKee down to the inside. Honeyman's going to try to follow off as we continue to work the longest straight flat run we've ever had in ARCA competition at Bristol.
Wow.
It's at third. Here comes Fitz. Side right fourth.
Timmy Hill might get up to second.
See Jake down there with his left sides and that PJ1. And a good illustration of what we're talking about with PJ1. Have you ever been to a movie theater and somebody poured Coke on the floor and how sticky it is? That's what it was explained to me. And Austin, you're a better example of how to talk about that PJ1.
Yeah, no, it's definitely just grip. We call it traction compound because it gives traction to the tires, but being able to get down there and use that grip, but it does eventually get worked up and knocked away as you see the 55 car kind of getting pushed back into the garage, maybe.
For more, let's go to Caitlin.
Well, we documented the struggles for Isabella Robusto in qualifying, and then once again, problems here for that 55. First, she came down pit road. He said something was dragging. I can't race it. So they said, let's see if the track bar now is dragging. But now she says that 55 car won't fire up. So disappointing race here for Isabella, guys.
Yeah, she had issues in practice. They had to push that car off every time she went out to practice and actually could not get it fired for qualifying. That's why she had to start at the back of the pack.
Isabella comes into the night fourth in points. A good margin behind Wallace Allen, who's not in attendance for this. Now, to the full-time competitors after running X amount of races may swing her way, but the attempt to try to garner some positive momentum stalls out at Bristol as Cruz is in heavy traffic as the race leader.
Yeah, there's Jason Kitzmiller right now running in the 10th spot.
Wow.
Yeah, Kurt's been really patient with all that battling for second, third, fourth. He's able to pull out a 5-second lead, so he's not trying to risk too much. I mean, think about 5 seconds. It's a 15-second lap. That's a third of the lap ahead. So he's got some room to be a little careful with his race car.
That 6th car, that is LeVar Schuyler, going up right now in points. That's already gone a lap down, along with the 25 of Patrick Staropoli. And right now, LeVar Schuyler would not be in the free fast position because Jason Kitzmiller right in front of him is.
We're keeping an eye on that there because we continue to watch that 6 car nurse his vehicle while we wonder if Butterbean's car may have an issue as we check in on Cletus McFarland. And I love seeing Cletus come out and run these ARCA races. 4.5 nearly million subscribers on YouTube. His content ranges from everything from new builds, the restoration of a racetrack he now owns called the Freedom Factory. He's got a massive following. He's doing a really good job tonight.
He's doing a great job. He had trouble, got wrecked a couple times at Daytona, but then had a top 10 finish at Talladega on 7 cylinders. He did such a nice job in the draft. And as you mentioned, his best career finish in Charlotte. I was going to say, this one is nothing like any of those other 3 racetracks that he went to, but I think he's doing a superb job.
Yeah, I think he's doing great. I mean, look at him. He's out there running the high line at Bristol. There's still a little room for him to move on, but it's an intimidating place, and he's up on the wheel and having a good time. I'm sure.
And one thing about Cletus, he's willing to race anything. Just about 2 months ago, he organized a 90-lap Crown Vic race at Stafford. Even though Cletus didn't finish the race, Ryan Priest went to victory lane. Greg Biffle finished second.
Yeah, he and Greg Biffle are big buddies. You usually see Greg when you see Cletus at these racetracks.
While Cletus continues to lap his way around this racetrack, let's learn more about how the night ended for Isabella Robusto.
She's out of the company. It's like, she knows what it is. Yeah, when don't see her in the camera there tonight. I had to talk to the back, came back. I passed so many cars down the race, but yeah, just unfortunately there at the end. So not able to finish the race, but I feel like we had a pretty good car, definitely top 5. So it's upsetting to not be out there right now, but we'll just focus forward next race. Thank you. It's well, still optimistic, really good from this race, guys.
Thanks, Caitlin. This is her second DNF in the last 4 races after having 0 DNFs in the previous 8 rounds, trying to hope that the final 3 are the best portion of her 2025 story, as her teammates have had a short battle, with Honeyman not only getting finished, he's gone up and got the 4th spot from Thomas Annunziato. Look at this off turn 4.
Just a few moments ago.
Wow. What a squeeze.
Around lap cars. Nice job by Honeyman and Jake Finch to avoid that lap car.
These two are not that far off. Brendan Queen, who rides 3rd, and Timmy Hill starting to close in as well for a potential top 5.
Austin was saying during the break that he's keeping an eye on Timmy Hill because he wants to know how that high group wins, because we've seen Timmy Hill just about exclusively trying to run that high lane. Now he's moving up and up.
Oh,
Andy J.
And luckily for Jankowiak, he stopped the car before it rolled back up
Yeah.
the racing line. He was running 16th at the time of the spin.
It was a good thing.
Draws caution number 4.
It was a good thing he got back in the
Just been a dust
gas.
off anything. Certainly is.
Just get out of the way.
Dragging under the valence there too. I don't know if we get a better angle of the front of that car, but maybe that has something to do with what's going on here.
Jankowiak making his 8th start of the season. After this, the only other schedule they've got on the docket for the Kloss Motorsports organization is Kansas. And he brings out the 4th yellow, ending the longest green flag run we've had in ARCA competition at Bristol. Caution number 4 for Jankowiak. Back for more after this.
All right, so under caution, Brett Cruz is the race leader. Tristan McKee in second, Brendan Queen third, Leland Honeyman fourth, fifth for Thomas Annunziata, rounding out our top 5. Quite a few laps to go yet in this race. Well, really not many at the same time. Most tracks, 36 laps would be quite a bit, but I guess at Bristol, maybe not the case. 36 laps at Bristol Motor Speedway, if it stays green, that's only about 6 minutes of real time. Let's take a quick break while we're under caution for the 4th time in the race. First time in the second half since the halfway caution. We're listening live on KRC as our flag-to-flag coverage continues. I don't know if this is going to be the last restart or not. This is going to be interesting. I kind of get scared when we have these late race restarts in Truck and Xfinity because you get a guy that dominates the race and then they get shipped on a short track at a restart. I'm wondering if that's going to happen here in ARCA. Nobody's been really able to touch Cruz even on the restarts today. He's been clear for the lead midway through 1 and 2 at the very least. I don't even think he's really gone into turn 1 through the braking area of that corner on a restart side by side or anybody remotely still underneath him. LeVar Scott in 11th place is going to get the free pass to get back on the lead lap. Check that. Tyler Wright in 10th place actually got the free pass. Jason Kitzmiller was towards the back end of the lead lap when he went for the spin. And as a result of which I believe is now a lap down. Dark Crypto, welcome to the stream. Now I wouldn't say it's a crapshoot by any means. Earl Arnold Jr., welcome to the stream. Do I think Cletus would race in trucks next season? If he does, I think it would be Dodge. Or at least Ram for the truck series with colleagues since they have 5 new spots. But I don't think he's going to. I'd be shocked. I feel like we need to see him more on a closer to full-time basis in ARCA before he were to make that jump. But if he were, that would be his pathway. So again, under caution with a little less than 35 laps to go. This is our 4th caution of the race. It was the longest green flag run, apparently in ARCA history at Bristol. Spawning over 70 laps. I don't know if these teams have another set of tires or not. I'd say might as well use them. Only 10 cars on the lead lap, you're not going to lose a lot of time. Though I'd imagine you almost have to stay out and keep the set you have. Because nobody pitted there, so I'd assume that the ARCA series does not have an extra set. Maybe in case of emergencies if they have like a cut tire or something, but not for pit strategy, it looks. All right, Brent Cruz leads the field to the green. Another great restart for Cruz as he's well clear into the first turn, pulls to the inside of the racetrack. Honeyman, who is outside of row 2, is not going to be able to get to second, as it'll be Tristan McKee holding on. And Brennan Queen going for 4th on Timmy Hill, who is still stuck on the outside. Hill gets enough of a drive off turn 2, pulls to the bottom in front of the 70 of Annunziata, and hangs on for 5th. Jake Finch looking to get a spot gained after losing a couple on the restart, falling out of the top 5. Little bumper tag with the left rear corner panel of the 70 for Annunziata. Now, big slide by Finch as he is all over the 70 car. He was being pinched down mightily in turns 3 and 4 to having to hold that bottom lane of the racetrack. And as his car was sliding sideways from underneath him, the fact that he was able to keep it that low to the racetrack was very impressive. Never made contact with the side of the car to his outside and keeps both of them from wrecking. And they have pretty good days going for themselves. Last thing you want to do is get involved in an accident, especially this late in the race. Less than 30 laps remaining now here at Bristol. 1.2 second lead for Cruz. Honeyman's 2.3 back in third, and Brendan Queen 3.2 seconds off the lead in fourth. Again, a reminder, just over an hour from now, we'll have Craftsman Truck Series racing at Bristol Motor Speedway tonight. That will be under the lights. 8 p.m. Eastern will be the start for tonight's Truck Series live commentary stream, and that will be the last live commentary stream of the weekend. Race highlights from the grandstands for tomorrow's Xfinity race, as well as the Cup race on Saturday night. Those will be uploaded basically as soon as I can get back to the hotel following the conclusion of both races. McKee's now falling back to about 1.6 seconds off the lead. If you missed any of the race, it's been all Brent Cruz. We got a problem. Cletus McFarland, flat right front tire, as he's made contact with the outside wall up off of turn 4, pulls to the inside of the racetrack and onto pit road. We do stay green, no caution. He did make significant contact with the wall, thankfully. Was able to keep the car rolling, but flat right front tire, obviously, probably going to take this 30 car out for the rest of the race. And you can tell it was probably down up off the exit of turn 2 the lap before, so he was able to guide it up against the wall to keep from having significant damage. And a great wherewithal to get to pit road as quickly as he did as well. To keep this race under green. Been doing some Sporkle quizzes recently, tried to name all the presidents, only got half. Oh no. I remember when I had to name all of them back in high school. Could I do it now? Maybe. I might be able to. I don't know about the correct order, but I feel like I can get them all. By last name, at least. I'll have to try that on my own sometime, too. 0.3 of a second faster was Cruz over McKee that last lap. Jake Finch was only about a 10th off of Brent Cruz's lap time, and now that the most recent lap just posted, Cruz was only about 0.06 of a second faster than McKee. Tristan McKee's doing what he can. Sliding around on slightly older tires. Did a great job on the race start, quickly pulling clear for second out of turn 2 to keep from losing too much time battling side by side for a lap or two like he had done on a couple of occasions with restarts we've had beforehand tonight. Couple minutes out from that white flag, though, for Brent Cruz as he's hoping it stays green. Doesn't want any extra shenanigans. Even if he does, though, he's still going to be the one to beat. As he's been masterful on the restart, just as he has been during green flag conditions and the normal green flag racing itself. Lead lap after the Kitzmiller spin caused him the most recent caution. He's about to go a lap down shortly. If we went green all the way through the second half of the race, I think it was very well possible that Brent Cruz was going to lap well inside the top 5. I mean, he had almost 12 seconds to the 5th place car. There was a huge nest of them blanketed between about 4th through 10th. Not the case anymore. Pretty evenly spaced apart as most of the top 10 positions. Timmy Hill and Brendan Queen would be battling for fourth within a couple tenths of one another. They're the closest battle inside the top 10. Isaac Kitzmiller and Tyler Ripe are about a little over a second apart from one another in 8th and 9th. .2 second lead now. Hill's consistently kind of going up to that outside lane intentionally as the groove widens up a bit. Haven't seen many drivers do that today. He's really only doing it in turns 1 and 2, though. 3 and 4. 1 and 2, he's still down on the bottom. But 3 and 4, he keeps going up to the top. Or at least as wide as the groove is going, and that probably wasn't a good idea because he just smacked the wall hard off turn 4. Timmy Hill has crashed with 8 laps to go after having a solid day in 5th. And that Hill Motorsports Chevrolet. Man, oh man, that was a big hit. I don't know if something broke right off the exit of turn 4. He was on the high side already, luckily, but he also could have just gotten a little bit up out of the groove. He's been trying that high line for a couple of laps.
Where he's been running.
Listen in.
And it's just going to turn.
Yeah, you still want to see the hood flap come up right there at the end. Just, yeah, right front tire failure.
Man.
Yeah, hard to say with how much tire wear, obviously not knowing that. With, you know, is there camera worn or whatever else it might be. I don't know how close they are to the limits here, but could just be a puncture as well, running over something. I mean, we've had cars with damage come back out on the racetrack. So whatever it may be, just a unfortunate hit for Timmy Hill.
Now, what does the team of the number 18 think? Matt Ross, not happy to see that yellow.
I was talking about Brent Cruz not wanting to see a yellow. That guy also didn't want to see a yellow. Oh. The good news is the fact that he was so up high, that really minimized that impact. It was significant impact anyway, but if he would have been on the bottom of the racetrack and that right front tire went down, that would have looked a whole lot worse. Good to see Timmy get out of that car. They're hoping for a second really good race in a row after that great truck race at Darlington.
This is a family-owned team, just like the truck operation, so this is certainly going to sting for Timmy Hill. Caution number 5, setting up a sprint to the finish. Come on back to Bristol.
Yeah, we are not going to have many laps left. Caution came out with 8 laps to go, and our average cleanup for cautions has been right around 8 to go. So we're probably only going to have a lap or 2 on the restart to get to the finish. And I believe overtime at ARCA is only 1 overtime, so 1 chance to get it done. It might be just a 1-lap dash. Red Cruz has done a great job in the restart zone all day long. Don't change what you're doing. Just keep doing it. He's been clear going into the first turn every time. Will somebody try to get over aggressive with an opportunity to restart alongside Cruz, that being Tristan McKee? Maybe drive it in a little too hard in turns 1 and 2. Wash up the racetrack. Leave the door open for maybe a Leland Honeyman or a Brendan Queen to steal the win. Anything could happen here with a 1 or 2 lap restart. May get nutty. LeVar Scott in 11th place will get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. 5th caution of the night. One hour away from Craftsman Truck Series action tonight at Bristol Motor Speedway. We'll be live for that one. I appreciate everybody tuning in here on an early Thursday stream on the channel. Rare occasion that we have Thursday live commentary. And we have 2 of them today. ARCA and Truck Series Racing. The Beak 1, welcome to the stream. Cletus is in 19th. He's 6 laps down. He had a right front tire failure a few laps ago. He was, I believe, 4 laps down in 17th, so he only lost a couple laps and a couple positions out of that. He's got quite a few laps over Michael Maples in 20th. He'll pick up another spot and get to 18th once Timmy Hill gets cycled around a couple more times. Hill now out of the race following this recent crash.
Hey everyone, Hal Petty here, and welcome to General Tire Delivers, ARCA's greatest moments. There's something electric about racing at Bristol. The lights, the noise, the intensity. This place is one of the most iconic short tracks in the country. Any win here is special. But in 2020, Sam Mayer did something that was downright extraordinary. That night, Mayer not only picked up a win in the NASCAR Truck Series, he came back later and dominated the ARCA Menards Series race. He led 116 of 200 laps, taking control early and never looking back. He was the class of the field. 2 wins, 3 different series on the same night on one of the toughest tracks in the sport. That's something you never forget. I'm Kyle Petty, and thanks for joining me with General Tire Delivers, ARCA's greatest moments. We'll see you next time.
Glad you're getting ready to produce another great moment here at Bristol. As the sun starts to set, we're getting set for overtime. Second time in this race's history that we've gone beyond the advertised distance, with Brent Cruz trying to dominate from wire to wire. McKee's going to be right on him when we get set to re-rack this field.
Well, we're going to have a moment, all right. I'm not sure it's going to be great, but we're going to have a moment for sure. That's what we talk about when the tires get hot. They actually peel the rubber right back off the racetrack.
Before we get back underway, let's check in on our second place runner, Tristan McKee. Alex has more.
Yeah, the driver of the 82 is struggling a bit on those restarts. Obviously making his first start here at Bristol, but his crew chief, Shane, is talking him through these restarts. Shane raced Xfinity here, so he learned a lot. He's trying to just help his driver say, think about the launch, take off a little bit more aggressively, and make sure that you roll with the car in front of you.
I think that's all really good advice. I mean, we've seen these restarts and him having a shot. I mean, look, you're going to be at a disadvantage being the guy on the bottom, but yeah, give yourself a shot, choke up with the bat, and start swinging, because this is, it's for a race win right here. And he's had a few looks at it, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he responds this time.
He doesn't have to be as conservative as Butterbean does. Butterbean needs to get to the end of this race, have a good points day, and then he's probably home free, as we talked at the very top of the show.
McKee, who has made splashes in just about everything he's driven, youngest driver ever to win a Car Store sanctioned event, and so back in a Pro Late model in 2023, trying to get the best of a driver looking for win number 4 on the season. Brent Cruz. These two have raced against each other several times in late model stock cars. Now we're going to get to see what happens here when a win is on the line between these two here at an ARCA race at Bristol.
Do you call Brent Cruz a wily veteran?
All right. Well, here we go. The 1 overtime restart. And on the front row, again, will be Brent Cruz, who has led every lap of the race so far, now just over 200 plus. With Tristan McKee on the inside of row 1. Inside of row 2 will be Leland Honeyman. Outside of row 2 will be Butterbean Queen. Looking for the launch on the outside is the 18. Cruz gets a great launch at that. Green flag back in the air. Queen on the outside for second place as he challenges with the 82 of Tristan McKee. Into turns 3 and 4. Queen way up the racetrack, and McKee will slide clear. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go with this 2-lap dash to the checker. Nobody has anything for Cruz all night long. And the same will be true for the final lap of the race as well. Off of turn 4, checkered flag waving, and Brent Cruz will go wire to wire and lead all 204 laps here tonight at Bristol. 200 plus the 4 overtime laps. No problem. Even with the extra distance, Brent Cruz easily will win this race. Tristan McKee in second, Brendan Queen third, Leland Honeyman fourth, and Thomas Annunziata rounds out the top 5 and 5th. Tyler Reif in 6th, Jake Finch 7th, Isaac Kitzmiller 8th, Jason Kitzmiller 9th, and Patrick Staropoli rounds out the top 10. Only 10 cars finish on the lead lap. LeVar Scott ends up in 11th, Laney Busey 12th, Andrew Patterson 13th, 14th for Andy Jankowiak and Carson Ware 15th, 16th for Tim Richmond, Cletus McFarland 17th, Tony Castino 18th, Timmy Hill 19th, and Michael Maples 20th. Alex Clubb 21st, Brad Smith 22nd, Austin Vaughn 23rd, Con Nicolopoulos 24th, Logan Misaraka 25th, Jackson McLaren 26th, 27th, Isabella Robusto, Corey Aiken 28th, Brayton Laster 29th, and Bobby Dale Earnhardt 30th. Zachary Tinkle 31st, Josh White 32nd, Takuma Koga 33rd, and Mike Basham rounds out our 34-car field. Quite a few DNFs in this one. Let's see, looking back, looks like we had 11 DNFs total out of the 34 that started tonight. And we had 5 cautions for incidents in this race as well. Congratulations to Brent Cruz, dominating, going wire to wire from the pole, leading every lap of tonight's ARCA's Bush's Best 200 at Bristol Motor Speedway. Truck racing tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. And before we disconnect from today's live stream, you'll get to listen in to our race winner, Brent Cruz, on the front stretch here at Bristol.
Fourth, Thomas Annunziata, your top 5 in what was an absolute dominating effort by Brent Cruz and this team. We talked about the diverse nature of this young man and his racing background and career. He started his career in karting, became very successful there on the road courses, then found success on the dirt side. And tonight we'll see if he can go back-to-back and win the truck race as well. Brent Cruz gets the job done at Bristol. We'll hear from him when we come back.
Well, looks like we're cutting a commercial here before we get that interview with Brent Cruz. Don't want to leave the stream until we get the race-winning interview. Might be back in victory lane then at this point. We'll take a quick break while we await for that. And then once we get the interview, we'll sign off. And we'll be live for the truck race at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. Eastern. For anybody tuning out a little bit early, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content as well. Chat back up on my phone. I've seen Brent Cruz run several truck races this season, but not to the extent in which he dominated tonight's race for ARCA at Bristol. Times he's been in that one truck at Tricon Garage this season. A couple of short tracks. I believe he raced at Richmond a couple of weeks ago. It's a long commercial break. And back out and go back into the live broadcast, see if I maybe fell behind with some sort of a lag or something. Nope. Still a commercial. It's kind of weird knowing that I'm doing live commentary tonight, but I'm not going to be here for the next couple of days. I'll miss you guys, that's for sure. I don't know where I'm sitting for the Xfinity race yet. I didn't get my tickets for that race. I did get my tickets for the Cup race already, though. Probably trying to sit somewhere similar. May get 2 different vantage points on those race highlight vids for Friday and Saturday night.
Free lap en route to victory. Trent Lasovich did it back at Berlin. Brendan Butterbean Queen did so at Dover. Tonight it's Brent Cruz, his second career win from the pole. He's climbing from the car to celebrate with his Joe Gibbs Racing team as they notch win number 50 for the ARCA organization. Cruz able to take a moment to come over and congratulate his entire team. He's been having a lot of fun racking up victories with this group. Third with the JGR team. The other one coming with the Nitro Motorsports organization. Back on the dirt track, may very well have been on his way to another win at Tacoin before a late crash. And he will have just a short bit to celebrate this one before strapping into his NASCAR Craftsman truck for tonight's race at Bristol. Alex Weaver's in victory lane.
The fireworks are going off here. He's celebrating with his crew because Brent Cruz gets his 4th win this ARCA season. Brent, dominating effort for you tonight. How were you able to do this one?
Yeah, first off, I just want to thank the good Lord above for keeping me safe. There's a lot of terrible things that's going on in the world right now, and I'm just grateful to be here and grateful to have the Lord by my side and this amazing race team. This 18 Mobile One Toyota Camry was absolutely amazing since we unloaded off the truck. I've had this race circled for years now since I was a little kid watching Kyle Busch come smoke everybody with this group, and excited to be able to do it myself. So yeah, I can't thank Matt and everybody enough on this team. They've all done such an amazing job, and just grateful to be here.
Well, you get the win in the first race of the night, but you have a busy night. You're roll off 15 for the truck race later this evening as you're pulling double duty. Does this add to the confidence of you can get another sword here at Bristol and pull into victory lane 2 times tonight?
Yeah, for sure it does. We have a really good truck. We didn't qualify that good. I like our long run speed, but yeah, the truck's definitely tricky. Had a really, really good car tonight in the ARCA race, so hopefully that can, overlay to the truck race.
Congratulations. Brent Cruz and the number 18 crew gets it done here at Bristol. They're your winner tonight. Quick transition for him to hop in a truck.
Thanks, Alex. Second career ARCA short track win for Cruz. The other coming at IRP earlier this season.
All right.
Hard fought effort for
Well, that's going to wrap up today's coverage of the ARCA Menards Bush's Best 200. Appreciate everybody tuning in for this one. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. We're at 37 likes, just shy of our goal of 50, but honestly, I didn't know what to expect for the ARCA race tonight because we've only done a few ARCA races this season, plus it started very early on a Thursday. We got primetime races still to come, though. Craftsman Truck Series, top of the hour, about 50 minutes from now. We'll be live for that. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching, and catch you in less than an hour from now.